Well, here's the new road. About, in the end, about 2 feet wider than the old one. Should be plenty to accommodate all the equipment they're bringing down to, or they will be bringing down to work on the septic system, as well as, of course, my own bigger tractor, which the other road was too narrow for. So that's it. Number 5 gravel on it now. And once all the work is done, this will get well packed with all the equipment driving over it. Excavators, mini excavators, skid steers, etc. Then I'll go ahead and cap it with some driveway mix, what we call crush and run here in Shenandoah Valley. All right, there you go. Well, there's their broken down skid steer and their truck, and we're up, just got the first delivery of gravel today. They got the bridge, the new culvert, 36-inch culvert, in yesterday with a fair amount of dirt. and they contoured that hillside a little bit. I was actually able to take my little tractor up there. First time in, well, second time in 20 years. I got my tractor over there. The first time it was pretty sketchy. This time not so bad. So the goal is, when all is said and done, from where I'm standing, ground level, to go straight across with the bridge, so that it'll be basically up to about this level right here, straight across from where I'm standing. All the dirt that comes out of the trenches, they're going to dig up there, and over there they're going to put the pump tank, so the dirt that comes out from that pump tank can go over here also. So that'll be good. And then they've had to, as I knew, knock down a few trees. Good majority of them were dead already or dying. This one right here is dead. I'm gonna have to take it down at some point if they don't. And this little one right here is dead also, that one right there. So it's gonna have to come down at some point. But yeah, we're making progress. They're up there digging holes and moving rocks and moving logs, getting ready to get the septic drain field put in. Thank you, GB Foltz. Well, they now have, I'm up above it, they now have the entire area cleared, and they've started digging the first trench. This is going to be the manifold trench, and then there'll be 8 60-foot trenches going that direction, as well as here at the top, probably about it'll be 8 60-foot trenches in the system out here, and then probably about an 80-foot 80 to 100-foot French drain all the way across the top to catch the water flowing off the hillside, so it doesn't wash out over the top of the system. So there's where we are now. Big old open spot in the middle of the woods. Might just be a good place for me to plant some clover or alfalfa or something at some point, you know, for a good crop for November and December, if you know what I mean. Here's from the bottom looking up, there's the first trench, and there's the whole open spot over to that tree right there is the end of the open spot. So we're going to have across here, we'll have the that's the header trench, and then there'll be 8 60-foot trenches going across, and way up at the top will be probably about an 80-foot French drain, 80 to 100. Well, they did a ton of work on the road this morning, getting the, or I should say the bridge, getting it widened up so that they are going to be able to bring a much bigger loader in here to haul this gravel. And that gravel back there, there's 3 loads of it back there and 2 loads of it here, up over to the other side to where they're working up there when they start putting in the actual drainage. So the bridge is done, and it is beautiful. I was able to take my little tractor up yesterday, and now I'll be able to comfortably get my little tractor or my big tractor up here, and most importantly the mower, because once the system is done I'm going to have to mow up there But beyond that, I got to get up here too to start taking, once they're finished, to start pulling all that wood out of here. So, yep, we now have a 36-inch pipe going across here, whereas prior to this I had two 20-inch pipes. So this morning they brought a whole bunch of dirt down and packed all that rock in there on both sides, so it'll help with all of the erosion and whatnot. So, yep, there's probably a good 3 feet of clay on top of that pipe now, and then they recontoured up there and recontoured here, so it's not nearly as steep on either side. All right, that's the progress on the road, or the bridge rather. Well, I guess the road up, the bridge and the road going up to the septic system. Well, they got the header ditch dug, most of it last night. They'll clean up that end as they get down there later. And then today they got one full trench dug, and they got the pipe in there with gravel and cloth. So 1 out of 8 in. So this is the old tank in front of me. This is a filter that's going to go into the old tank that didn't have one, and then they're going to put a plastic riser similar to that right there is going to go on top of here, but they have to order a special one, a 36-inch one, because the ones that they have are too small for this lid. Here's the old, this tank is staying. That's the old D box that's going to be coming out when they make the final connection between this tank, and then there'll be a pipe that runs to the end of that tank over there. That's the pump tank. So inside that riser right there is the pump. There's the control for it. Then there's electrical conduit that runs from there all the way up, and it comes right in at the corner of the garage, and then it goes over and then into the basement, and that is going to control the pump tank. And then they're working on the ditch right now that's going to go all the way down across the creek and back up to the new system up on the hill. So there's today's update. All right, they've got the trench dug from the tank now all the way down. Here's where my road is right here that Eva walks the dogs on all the time. And they're across that road, and they're actually down. He's down in the creek right now, getting ready to clear and go up the other side. He's likely going to have to take down just a couple of more trees. He had to take a couple of small ones down right over here, and he's probably going to have to take a couple of them down up there to be able to get that drain line all the way up on top of the hill, because it has to go up, line up with that spot right there, and then go all the way up to the top and connect up there at what they call the distribution box at the top, right up there. Doggone gnats are out. Freaking 80 degrees out here in November. Crazy. All that dust you see is he's down in the creek bed, and he's come across blue shale. And it sounds funny, I'm sitting in the cab of the tractor. It's real buggy and natty out, so I'm sitting here in the air conditioning. But that blue shale is what he's digging up. You might be able to see the dark color of the dirt right in front of the mini excavator there. But that's what all that dust is from, is that blue shale. I guess there's a seam of it down there. Boy, that's good stuff. If I had a good supply of that somewhere else on the property where I could get to it, that's great for road beds and whatnot. It's just basically one step away from limestone, really. So they're dumping the concrete from the concrete truck into the excavator's bucket, and then he's spinning around and bringing it down the hill and dumping it down here in the ditch, and then the guys down here are shoveling it to make sure it gets pushed in around that pipe correctly. Even though they pumped out the ditch down here, of water from the creek, or from the springs. There was some springs over here that came up when they dug the hole. They got the concrete mix dry on the dry side because it's going to be getting poured into that water. So that's the current happenings with the drain field right now. So now they're getting ready to, they've completed the concrete in the creek bed, and now they're starting to connect the pipes here and run them up the hill. And the excavator has got the trench now extended from about where that guy is standing was the end of the trench before, and now he's all the way up there. He has to run that trench parallel to the header trench, which is right about there. So he's got to run that parallel to the header trench, and then it'll go up over the top of the system, loop around, and then come into the distribution box. So that's where we're at right now. And that concrete's already cured enough on top that they can walk on it. And then there's the trench going up. And there's the excavator digging it out. Well, the system is now fully connected up to the D box. They tested it this morning and it pumped water just good. They got the pipes adjusted, and now we're digging French drain. Here's where it curves, goes down the hill, and then it gets a little shallower and shallower till it gets to the end here. And that's where the end of it's going to be, where it'll dump out and just run down the hill and back down to the creek, which is right down there. I'm going to guess that's total probably 120 foot long, thereabouts. So that's what we're doing today. Okay, as promised, the final walkthrough. It starts right here. This is power coming out of the basement, connected to the panel. Comes down along the wall. I had them add me a receptacle here so I can power my smoker. It goes down the corner there and around the corner. And then there's a box there. And that box then goes underground and takes two circuits, a 15 amp and a 20 amp circuit, down to the alarm box and pump control panel, which we will walk over to. So they had to trench right across here, and so the next part of this is from the original system. The only thing that stayed is the old tank, but they had to add this riser because there's a filter down inside that the original system didn't have, which is now required by code. So we removed the concrete cover, added this plastic collar and riser with a screw-on lid. And then the second lid is right here. If we have to do another clean out, they can clean out from here, pump the tank from here without having to deal with that filter assembly in there. Here's the old distribution box, which was removed. It had been buried right about out here. just out from the original lid. It was somewhere out about right there. And then now, over here in the ground is the new 1,000 gallon pump tank. So we have the original 1,000 gallon tank, concrete tank over there, and now a 1,000 gallon polymer tank, which is connected to the control and alarm panel here. And then from this tank out all the way up on top of the hill is the new pump line, which is a 2-inch line partially encased in 4-inch where needed. That's buried 36 inches deep, and that goes down here all the way across the creek. And as is my new job, walking around finding rocks, throwing them out of the way so that I don't hit them with the mower come springtime. And then that goes down along here. Get this mud off my fingers from the rock I just picked up. And then as we go down, I'm going to look to the right here, and you'll see the spot where they dug all kinds of dirt out of. I had been digging dirt out of here for years, but if you come up here, they're all the way back to here, and I had stopped somewhere up here. So they pushed this back, most of it back, a little bit diagonal, but most of it back almost 10 feet, pulling relatively clean fill and shale out of here to take up on the hill and take up into the creek, because some of this dirt around here was so filled with rocks, as you'll see as you've seen in some of the other video. Like here, this is all the rocks that was, or a lot of the rocks that was pulled out on both sides. And then that 2-inch line crosses the creek, goes up the other side. However, in the middle of the creek, right, get over here so we can see it better. Basically, right in line here, in the middle of the creek, they ran into blue shale, which required almost half a day of digging to get through that. Then that 2-inch line goes across and is encased in 3 foot deep, 3 foot wide, and 30 feet long concrete trench to encase that line where it crosses the creek. In the process, where you can see the water flowing there, basically right here, there was a they when they dug through that blue shale, they wound up digging into an existing spring. So whenever this creek is fully dried up, there's usually 2 or 3 spots the width of our property where it stays wet significantly longer after the rest of it dries up. That's where we know we have in-ground springs, and this spot is one of them. So let's go around to the crossing and the road that now goes up over the creek, which had to be dug so that, or rebuilt I should say, so that they could get their big loader across, which is going to be which I've previously shown in one of the other videos. So I originally had 2 10-foot long 20-inch pipes going across the creek here, and I'd only ever taken my little tractor up here once, and when I did it, this slope here was significantly steeper. I made it up to the other side, probably up to around here. I might have gone over that way a little bit, and then I turned the tractor around. I started coming back down. There was a lot of leaves there, and I actually started sliding. Thankfully, I had the box blade on the back of the tractor. I lowered that. That acted as a drag brake, slowed me down. Anyway, now there is a single 36-inch pipe under the creek, and or in the creek, and it is 20 feet long, and you can see there's at least 4 feet of dirt on top. The leftover concrete we had from filling in the trench on the creek down there, where the 2-inch line came across, he was able to pour in here, which will help with erosion. And then on this side, he actually gave me a pad down here so that when the water comes out of this pipe, because the pipe's sitting a little bit higher than the bottom of the creek, it'll hit that concrete and not erode a hole in the bottom of the creek there. And then there was a little bit of concrete left over that got dumped up there. So let me get walked up here. Got a whole lot of trees that are going to get cut up. So if there's any of my local friends in the valley interested in firewood, let me know. We'll make arrangements. You cut it, I'll haul it down with the tractor, and you can have it. Here's one pile of trees, and then there's another pile up there. So we come up here, and you'll see the French drain starts here, and that travels from here all the way across the 60 feet of the system, and then about another 20 feet that way. So we're about 110 or so feet long. Well, 80, about 90 feet long, I guess. So right here is the new distribution box. And what they did was the pipe comes up here and it runs parallel. This is actually the header trench. So the pipe came up this way, loops back around here to where I'm standing, and then comes back down into the top of the D box. So this post is marking the top of the D box, and this concrete cover is actually the cover from the original concrete D box, and it's just laid on there as a marker so I know the exact orientation of the existing D box. And then starting right here at the D box is the first of 8 trenches going this way, and they're all curved slightly, and then there's 8 of them going down the hill. This was the header trench right here that has all the piping buried in it. And so now everything comes from way up there all the way down across the creek, all the way up here, loops around, comes into the D box, and then gets distributed amongst the 8 60-foot trenches. So again, here's that pile of wood from another angle, and that other pile of trees up here. Sorry, the sun is creating a glare there. So you can see that big tree, and then this whole pile of trees here that are going to be available for firewood. There's the pile of stumps over there. I'll be eventually moving the rest of the stumps. I've got another pile of stumps right down there behind those trees, and I'll be eventually moving that pile of stumps up here, adding it to that pile so it can just lay on the top of the ground or rot away. And that's it. That's the new system. So far, no issues. The alarm's never gone off, and it's been working just perfectly. So hopefully, for what this cost us, it'll be outlasting us. All right. Again, anybody interested in the firewood who's local, let me know. Even these dead trees, like this log right here is really dead. It's punky down maybe 1/2 inch, and then it's solid. It might be closer to 1 inch, I don't know, but it's pretty solid down inside. I was jabbing my knife into it the other day, and I couldn't get very deep with the tip of the blade before it hit hardwood. So let me know. All right, take care. I'll be compiling all this and putting it up on my YouTube channel, and then I'll make an announcement on Facebook when I get all the videos compiled and posted. All right, take care. Dan out.